in a book entitled A Memorial Sketch of Lieutenant Edgar M. Newcomb, of the 19th Massachusetts Volunteers 1883, written by Albert Blodgett Weymouth, who tells the life story of Edgar M. Newcomb, and he included Edgar's personal letters he wrote to his family and friends, and in some of these letters he mentions Lieutenant James G. C. Dodge. The following accounts were taken from this book. A letter to his sister dated March 3, 1862, page 48. One of the strange experiences of my life occurred day before yesterday. Our field officers had a few hours before received swords, which an uncle of Lieutenant Dodge had imported from France. As I was standing at headquarters, the gentleman entered and was introduced to the officers. I remembered at once having seen him before, and in a pause of the conversation asked him if I had not met him in Paris. "Bless me, yes," said he, and rising shook my hand most heartily. He proved to be Mr. Clark, the clerk of the American ex-minister at Paris, who so interested himself in me, and wrote me once or twice after my return. As a traveler I parted from him in Paris a little more than 18 months ago, one bright autumn afternoon, and to meet him again as a soldier on the Potomac at military headquarters, about the same hour, of a gusty winter's day. Yesterday we parted, and he promised another rendezvous at Richmond. A letter to his sister dated August 2, 1862. At the end of his letter Edgar wrote the following, page 80. What is Weber's rank? Dodge sends this skin and cartridge bag with his respects. I have received your needle book. The cartridge bag is from Yorktown. A letter to his sister dated August 23, 1862, page 82 and 83. How I leapt for joy at the news that my worldly possessions were safe at home. Trunk, coat, watch, commission, and accumulation of good fortune absolutely stunning. My box, however, is not at hand. It came to Harrison's Landing with many others, as we were ordered to move, and the express company returned it to Fortress Monroe. There is a possibility of my never getting it in the bustle and change, which for some time will accompany our division. The cannon cartridge bag Dodge sent you contained powder to send a rebel ball against us, when it was found in Yorktown. A letter to his brother from Brigade Headquarters, Camp Benton, dated November 5, 1861, page 33. Edgar mentions the White Flag incident, which occurred at the Battle of Ball's Bluff, where he wrote, Colonel Hinks, now in command, is a most agreeable and soldier-like man, prepossessing at the first, and improving with acquaintance. Lieutenant Dodge, after the fight at Ball's Bluff, crossed to Virginia with a flag of truce, to look after the dead. He approached within 2 or 3 miles of Leesburg, and performed his duty so bravely as to win the praise of the colonel. Prentice is now transferred to the commissary department. Colburn is sadly homesick. He is one of the 8 corporals who guard the colors. Of the 4 postage stamps Mother sent me, 1 I gave away, 2 paid for a pint of molasses, and the last found its way to Boston on my last letter. A letter to Leila, dated July 15, 1862, page 77. His sister, I do not think at Hall experiences much warmer weather than we here. Snakes too are becoming quite frequent. Dodge, who was quite fond of reptiles, lately appeared at headquarters with a huge black snake. One of our men pulled an adder from his trousers leg a few nights ago, and soon afterward a copperhead was discovered to have turned in along with 2 tent mates. Mosquitoes are less frequent here than at Fair Oaks, but every kind of insect abounds. Edgar F. Newcomb was born in Troy, New York, on the 2nd of October 1840. He was the eldest son of John Newcomb, and his mother was Mary Marshall. He was a bright and clever lad, with handsome features of almost feminine delicacy, refined in his disposition and deportment, studious and in all respects, exemplary. He was sent to Boston to be educated and lived with relatives in Malden, Massachusetts. He attended and graduated from the Latin High School in Boston and entered Harvard University. In his last year of studies he decided to join the 19th Massachusetts, as a corporal on the 26th of August, 1861. Fredericksburg. On the morning of the 13th, Edgar, knowing that the fearful battles was pending, sent his younger brother on an errand to fetch a package left at Potomac Creek. Later that day, the battle raged on, until Edgar fell. Edgar was taken from the battlefield to a church and later back to hospital. After examining the wounds to both legs, the surgeon very properly declined to operate. Charlie, his younger brother, was crying about his approaching separation of his older brother. Edgar, seeing this, said, "Your orders are not yet come. When they come, you will join me if you live well." The welcome release from suffering came on the morning of December 20th, before dawn. His father, Mr. John J. Newcomb, arrived on the following morning. Edgar's body was then in the embalmer's tent. His body arrived back home in Boston on Christmas evening. His funeral took place in the Park Street Church. Among the prominent individuals present were Governor Andrew Wilson, Company Hanks, Major Rice and Captain Rice of the 19th Regiment, and many military friends and family. He was laid to rest at Mount Auburn Cemetery, as a hero for eternity. On his memorial web page on Find a Grave, it is written, eldest son of John J. Newcomb and Mary Starbuck Marshall Newcomb. Graduated Boston Latin School in 1856 and Harvard College in 1860. Joined the 19th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry in 1861. Commissioned 1st Lieutenant September 11, 1862, following the Battle of Antietam. Wounded in both legs while leading a charge at the Battle of Fredericksburg, December 13, 1862, and died in the hospital at Falmouth, Virginia a week later. Inscription: Edgar M. Newcomb, Lieutenant, 19 Regiment, Massachusetts Volunteers. Died December 20, 1862 at Falmouth, Virginia, of wounds received in the Battle of Fredericksburg, aged 22 years, until the day break and the shadows flee away.